If you only think one tax year at a time, you will waste most of the power of cost segregation. In the earlier lessons, we almost talk about 1 year at a time. That what happened if I do cost seg this year? How much bonus depreciation do I get this year? How much does my tax bill drop this year? That's a good starting point, but that's only half of the story. Cost segregation is really a multi-year planning tool. When you do a study, you are not just changing 1 year, you are reshaping the next 3, 5, even 10 years of your tax life. You are accelerating deduction into earlier years. You are changing how much depreciation you have left in later years. And you are changing what your number look like when you sell or refinance. So if you only ever zoom in on 1 year, it's really easy to trigger big paper losses in a year you didn't actually need them. And you leave yourself with fewer deductions, right? In a year when you really do need them. So in this lesson, we are going to zoom out, right? And then we want to look at cost segregation over a 3 to 5 year window instead of a single tax year. But this is for you if you are an investor, a landlord, or a tax pro who want to stop reacting to April 15 and start steering things on purpose. We're going to talk about why serious investor and advisor think in 3 to 5 years block, how the timing of acquisitions and placing service dates affect your strategies, how to aim cost seg at much high income years like a business sale or a big bonus, how REP and STR timelines interact when you buy and when you do the study. And if you're a tax pro, how to run cost seg and parts of a written multi-year roadmap, not just an afterthought. As you listen, keep this question in the back of your mind. What do my next 3 to 5 years actually look like, not just this April? All right, let's start with why this 3 to 5 year view beat 1 year thinking. So over the life of a property, your total depreciation is basically the same, right? Whether you do cost seg or not, assuming the law doesn't change and you hold the property this entire time, right? What cost seg change is only the timing. So when the deductions show up and how the deduction line up with your income over time. If you zoom out over 3 to 5 years, your income is almost never flat. There are patterns. Maybe you got a spike in 1 year because of a bonus, a commission run, or selling a business. Maybe you are planning a career change or dialing back hours, and you know your income will drop later. Maybe you are building to a real estate professional status or planning a short-term rental year where you really lean into material participation. Maybe you expect to sell a property or business in a specific window. If your mindset is always, how much can I write up this year? That can cause you to maybe using your big depreciation in a year when your tax rate is actually low, or you're not creating losses that gets, or you actually create losses that get suspended, right? Because you don't have the right title income to absorb them. And then you are left with a smaller deduction in the years when you would gladly trade them for cash. So multi-year planning asks different questions, like which one or 2 years matter most for my tax rate, right, and my cash flow? How do I align cost seg with those years instead of just rushing to do it as soon as possible? Once you start thinking that way, the next question comes up naturally. When should I actually put each property in service? So let's talk about timing, acquisition, and placing service dates, right? So you're going to see the phrase over and over with depreciation, placed in service. That's the year the property is ready and available for its intended use. So that's the year the depreciation starts. And for cost seg, that placing service year is crucial because that's when the bonus depreciation on your short life component hits. Think about some of the levers you actually control. Do I want this property placed in service at the end of this year or the beginning of next year? If I'm closing in December, does it help to or hurt me to rush and get it ready for rent? If I'm renovating, what year do I really want this to be ready and available for tenants? Here's how this can play out for you. If you know this year income is relatively low, but next year you will see a major spike. So maybe a business sale, a promotion, or a big bonus. You might choose to close this year and take your time with the rehab and the setup, right? And then officially you can place the property in service early next year so that the big first year depreciation hit in the high income year. On the flip side, if this year is the big income year and you know next year is going to be much lower, then it might be worth it to pushing to get the closing done, get the property ready and available before year end, and doing the cost seg early so the large first year depreciation land in this high income year. You haven't changed the total depreciation over the life of the asset. You have only changed which year get the biggest boost. So that timing by itself can be powerful, but it gets even more interesting when you know a specific high income event is coming. Now let's talk about using cost seg to offset known high income years. So think about years where your income is way above normal. Like say you sell a business or a big block of equity, or you exercise a pile of stock options, or you have a peak W-2 year from a promotion or a huge commission run. You land a major consulting contract or one-time project. If you know this is coming, not as a big someday, but as a real likely event, cost seg become a way to aim your deduction at that spike. Here's a simple situation. You are planning to exercise a large block of option or sell part of your business next year. You know that year will have a much higher effective rate than normal. You also know you want to add a new rental or STR in the next 12 to 18 months. You have choices. You can buy whenever, place in service whenever, and just accept whatever year the big depreciation happen to fall in, right? Or you can say, I want the property acquired, the improvements done, and the property placed in service in the same year as that high income event. Then a cost seg study on that property, pull a large chunk of depreciation into that same year. That helps soften the tax hits on the sale, the option, or the extraordinary income. Is this the only thing you look at when buying property? Of course not. The deal still has to make sense on cash flow, right, location, and long-term strategy. But if you are already planning to buy in that general window, and you already know the year of your big income event, then timing can shift $100,000 of deduction into the year where they do the most work. The same idea applies to a smaller scale with planned bonuses or large commission or big consulting projects. Instead of asking, should I do cost seg in a vacuum? The better question is, which tax year do I want this cost seg deduction to land in, given everything else happening in my life? Now let's add another layer, REP and STR. So if you've gone through the real estate professional started lesson and the short-term rental material, you already know that REP can turn long-term rental losses into non-passive losses that can offset other income. And certain STRs that with real material participation, right, can do the same thing even if you're not REP. Both of those are started plus fact story. They usually don't happen by accident. For example, you might be on track to qualify as a real estate professional next year, not this year. Or you might be planning a year where you intentionally cut back on other work, really meet the participation on SDR. In a multi-year plan, that gives you more questions you can ask. If I'm not REP this year, but I expect to be next year, does it make sense to wait on the cost seg study until the year I actually qualify and materially participate? Or if my SDR is new this year and I'm just getting system in play, do I want to time the big upgrades and the cost seg for the year when I'm clearly hit the participation test? So in that way, right, the big cost seg deduction land in a year where your status and your day-to-day facts actually let you use those losses against the income you care about. You're not just creating big passive losses that get suspended and just sit there. This is exactly where the planning opportunity live for tax pro. So if you are a tax pro watching this, here's how you turn this into a repeatable process instead of a random one-off ideas. So step one, map out the client next 3 to 5 years. You want to look at the expected income by category. You look at W2, business, rental, capital gains. You want to list the planned events like a business sale, option exercise, big deals, or lifestyle changes. You want to list the real estate plans like acquisition, disposition, and major rehabs. Step two, identify the target years. Which one or 2 years look like the biggest tax exposure? Where would a large extra deduction actually move their effective tax rate? Then steps three, overlay real estate and cost seg option. So which property are candidate for cost seg, right? Roughly how much short life property do they have? And when can those properties realistically be placed in service or substantially improved? Step four, you want to align status and facts, right? If they are pursuing rep, when is that realistically achievable, right? Are they running SDRs where we can clearly hit material participation? If so, which year will those sets clearly be met? And step five, you want to put it in writing, even if it's just like a one-page roadmap, right? So you're going to write out like year one, no cost seg, focus on positioning, maybe acquire and rehab. Year two, place property A in service, do cost seg, aim it as a known income spike. Year 3 and 4, decide whether to cost seg property B or keep that level for a later event, like another sale. So that isn't about promising a specific outcome, right? It's about organizing the timing of tools the client already have, like their properties, their status, their planned transactions, so the deductions show up where they have the most impact. For a serious investor, even a simple written plan like this can change how they sequence purchases, rehab, and exits. So let's wrap it up and bridge to what's next. So in this lesson, we have been talking about cost segregation as a 3 to 5 year planning tool, not just a this year trick. You have seen that the year you place the property in service can be just as important as whether you do cost seg at all. Aligning cost seg with known high income years can dramatically change your after-tax outcome, even though the total depreciation is the same over time. Then real estate professional status and SDR strategies both have timelines, and timing cost seg to the years where your status and participation line up can be the difference between powerful non-passive losses and suspended passive losses. And for tax pros, building a multi-year plan with cost seg at the core turn this into a one-off idea into a structured strategy that you can deliver again and again. If you are an investor or a landlord, your action step after this lesson is simple. Grab a piece of paper or a spreadsheet and stretch your next 3 to 5 years. Write out major income event, plan property purchases, possible sale, then circle in 1 or 2 years where tax saving would matter most. If you are a tax pro, pick one client as a tax case. Map out the next few years and ask, where could we intentionally place cost seg instead of spiking it randomly? In the upcoming lesson, we will keep typing these planning concepts back into the templates and example. So you are not just learning cost seg in theory. You see how to plug the idea into real numbers and real deals, and how to make cost segregation part of the multi-tax year strategy that actually fit your life or your client life, instead of just reacting one April at a time.